You're waiting to feel ready. The workout, the project, the call you keep not making. You've quietly decided you'll start when the motivation shows up. And it keeps not showing up. That's not laziness, and it's not a willpower problem. You've got the whole thing backwards. You don't act because you feel ready. You feel ready because you started. The cost is rarely one dramatic failure. It's quieter. A half-built shelf leans against the wall for another month because every Saturday you wait to want the work. At first, that is just a delay. Then the unfinished thing begins to gather a story. Maybe you're the kind of person who never follows through. That story travels. It shows up the next time something matters. By then, the hesitation starts before you even reach the task. None of this proves anything about your character. But waiting can take something real from you, not your ability, but your trust that you will begin when you say you will. That trust can be rebuilt in very small pieces. Subscribe if you want Stoic ideas that turn hesitation into one honest move. A man once enslaved in Rome saw capacity in a harder, more useful way. It grows through the act that uses it. That promise is smaller than inspiration and more dependable. Watch what happens on an ordinary morning. You check your mood as if it were a weather report. No energy, no spark. So the task gets moved again. The move seems sensible because you imagine a better version of yourself arriving later, ready to work. But capacity is not waiting off stage for the right feeling. It develops when you put it to work, even briefly. The beginning is not proof that motivation has arrived. It is one of the conditions that can help motivation appear. That man was Epictetus. He was enslaved in Rome, later gained his freedom, and became a teacher. In the discourses, he gives his students a plain lesson. Every capacity is kept alive and strengthened by the action that matches it. Walking grows through walking. Running grows through running. If you want to be a reader, read. If you want to be a writer, write. There is nothing glamorous in that list. That is why it helps. He points away from self-description and back toward practice. To be precise, what he taught is habit and capacity. Applying it to motivation is our move, and it fits. You do not become ready and then practice. Practice is one way readiness begins to grow. Capacity follows use. That is the promise Epictetus carries into this problem. So stop asking, how do I get motivated? Ask, what is the smallest move I can make right now? The feeling may be on the other side of motion. Try the 2-minute version. Move your body for 2 minutes, write one rough sentence, or say the first honest line of the conversation. Then you have permission to stop. Really stop. This is an experiment, not a trick for smuggling yourself into an hour of work. You are only testing the order of cause and effect. Begin, then notice what the task feels like from inside the action. You don't act because you feel ready. You feel ready because you started. One boundary belongs here. This applies to one safe, important action genuinely within reach. It does not cover illness, injury, grief, deep exhaustion, or serious depression. Sometimes rest is the duty. Sometimes proper care is. The point is not to overpower a real limit. For a safe step within reach, waiting isn't neutral. That doesn't mean one delay damages your character. Everyone postpones things. It means repeated waiting can make tomorrow start harder, because repetition teaches familiarity. Each time the same manageable step gets postponed, postponing becomes the path you know best. The task has not grown, but starting feels less familiar. That's a pattern, not a verdict. There is no shame in seeing it. In fact, shame usually adds more weight and sends you back to avoidance. A gentler question works better. What have I been rehearsing? That's Epictetus's law running in reverse. Hesitation grows through use too. If the answer is hesitation, you do not need a new identity or a speech in the mirror. You need one small repetition of beginning. A different pattern starts the same way the old one did, with one ordinary act repeated often enough to become familiar. Why does the first step feel so heavy? Because you keep making the start carry the weight of the finish. Think of a kitchen table buried under unopened mail. In your head, beginning means the entire afternoon disappears into paperwork. No wonder you walk past it. Your mind has compressed the whole job into the first touch. But the threshold is only one envelope. Crossing it does not promise the rest. A beginning is not a contract to finish. It's contact with what's actually there. Once the imagined whole becomes one real action, your mind has new information. Maybe dread does not vanish. Maybe dread drops from an 8 to a 6. That is still a meaningful change. 6 may be enough to sort one more piece. Or it may be the point where you stop, having learned that the task is real and finite rather than a fog filling the room. Either result is more honest than judging it from across the room. This is why small must be honest. If the step is so tiny that it has nothing to do with the real task, it becomes theater. If it puts you in direct contact with the task, it counts. The 2 minutes let you meet reality without promising more than you can give. There is a useful parallel in behavioral activation, a practical approach used when people feel stuck or low. In plain language, people do not always wait for mood to improve before taking a manageable action. Sometimes the action gives mood something new to answer. That's a bridge, not a guarantee. You may not feel energized. The task may simply feel less impossible once you are beside it. Nothing dramatic has to happen. You have replaced anticipation with experience, and experience is easier to judge. Marcus Aurelius gives this a useful scale. 1 act. In Book 8 of the Meditations, he reminds himself to frame his life action by action and let each act do its own duty. He is not asking one moment to prove the shape of an entire life. He is asking the act in front of him to be done honestly. Duty here is not a demand for endless output. It is a question of proportion. What reasonably belongs to this moment? You do not need to become a motivated person today. You need one act that fits the reality in front of you. Complete that act, or give it the portion you can honestly give. Let it be enough to stand on its own. The limit still matters. Illness, grief, real depletion. The limits we named earlier can change what duty looks like. When they're present, rest may be the duty, or proper care with someone helping you carry the day. If the step isn't genuinely within reach, the honest move is to stop and get support. A good Stoic practice should make you more faithful to reality, not less. That includes the reality of your limits. That is, the feeling follows. Motion first, mood second. You are not trying to manufacture enthusiasm, and you are not declaring war on every reluctance. You are giving readiness somewhere to meet you. You don't act because you feel ready. You feel ready because you started. Within the next 24 hours, choose one safe, important action and give it 2 honest minutes. When the time ends, stop if stopping is right. The experiment is complete either way because you tested the order rather than waiting for certainty. Subscribe to keep calm Stoic practice nearby for the mornings when readiness goes missing. Daily Stoic mentality. Ancient wisdom for the modern mind.